are back for the live talk for the empowerment, for the feminine, and for all the women and brothers also looking and watching us right now. And we are back with Nada Love. And YogiGeorge is in our hearts still, and we send her all our love and easiness. So today we are going to talk about the mother wand to mother love. So good afternoon, beautiful souls. We are back for live talk for the feminine empowerment with Nada Love.
Hello, everybody.
And myself, Mathilde Lumiere. And we have a beautiful talk today about mother wand to bridge it to mother love. We have been extendedly talking about it today. That's why we are a bit behind time, but we are fast, time is slow. And we have a lot of beautiful tools to share with you, how to bridge that wand to love, and how to make it happen and shift your relationship with your mother, and shift your perspective and perception about your mother and about yourself as well. So, yes. We are on a different space right now, so just dive with us in that flow of being present in different space, so you can breathe in with us.
Yeah, let's all take a deep breath in together and exhale, anchoring ourselves in today, anchor ourselves in the now. So I also want to welcome you all to this chat today. And we're really excited to talk about what we're going to discuss with you today, because last time we spoke about the wounds and we gave tools on how we're going to overcome the wounds that we have with our mother. And then YogiGeorge said something really beautiful to us, and she said, when there's love, there's no wounds. And today's talk is about transforming and alkalizing and transcending the childhood mother wounds into the frequency of love, the frequency of acceptance, the frequency of joy, and develop a bridge of love between one heart and another, between ours and our mothers.
Exactly. So allow us a couple of seconds so we can share, and you can also invite your friends. We remind you that this is a safe space to express and to ask questions, to share, to comment. If you wish to join us on a private
George.
We just realized there is like some upgrade on Facebook, and we just had a little bug on watching our video. So you can also go to podcast. There is the link just above the video on the side wherever you are watching the video, and you can also join the private platform to ask private questions, for example, or to be more in a private space. So please do so, and we really invite you to create your space now wherever you are in your little bubble, so you can be fully present with yourself and with us as well.
Okay, shared on Facebook. So let's dive in. Let's start. So one of the things that I would invite you to start looking is, you see, when we grow up and we start living in awareness, we start living in realization, what we start doing is we start looking at the limitations that we have in our lives so we can overcome them, transcend them, and expand into the limitless versions that we are. And one of the things that we start doing is looking at our relationships with our parents. Our relationship with our mother growing up has an immense impact on our existence today, because our mother is the source of unconditional love in human form. And if our mothers come from a lineage of limitation, then what happens is that source of unconditional love becomes very conditional, and then the baby gets wounded.
Limitation or lacks as well.
And lacks, yes. Of course, yes. So, and then the baby gets wounded. So when the baby grows up, and then the child and then the adult starts wanting to heal themselves, what they do is they start looking at their past, and they start looking at the relationship with their mother. And usually what happens is blame starts surfacing. And this is something that we want to bring to your attention, because whenever there's an energy of blame, there's an energy of contraction. And whenever there's an energy of contraction, then the person is living in a place that's very limited. So the first thing that I would invite you to do is, when you start exploring what's happening within yourself, within your own limitations from your childhood, with the dance you had with your mother, it's a collaboration. I would really invite you to start looking at it from a place of agreement instead of a place of blame. since we have all agreed and we have all chosen our own parents before we've come here. So we've chosen our mother, we've chosen her exactly the way she is, with the exact patterns that she has, with the exact DNA that she carries in her body, so we can come into an intense school of learnings. So, and then as we grow up, when we look back to reflect, to re-embody those learnings, one thing that I would invite you to do is look at it as a school instead of looking at it as a blame, a burden, like my mother did this to me, or my mother was like this to me. Because actually what happens, especially for super enlightened beings, what happens is we choose really interesting families. So we can come and have like a super intense quantum leap course on what's happening on the collective consciousness. So we can understand the collective consciousness very well. So when we step into our path and step up into our power, we already have a background of what's happening around the world, and we know exactly how to transform it and alchemize it. So when you look at your mother, when you start healing, look at her from that aspect, that your soul actually chose this specific woman to teach you the virtues on love, on acceptance of joy, whether they're expanded, whether they're contracted, because that's the learnings that you needed at that moment in time to be empowered where you are today.
Exactly.
Mom saying, "Hello, beautiful ladies, it's a beautiful sun."
My mom.
Yes.
Hello.
This is the time when we can say hello, mom.
Hello, mother.
So what we are going to bring you today, a couple of tools for understanding it further. We all have different experience. We all have level of experiences as well. We had beautiful questions recently is, how can I detach myself from wounds and how I am not my wounds? It was actually like rephrased differently, but I'm bringing it this way. So how we can actually observe, or as Nada was saying, if you look at the past, you will see the big picture, you will see also your learning and relearn from that and embody those experiences so you can quantum leap, quantum jump.
That's true.
Yes. So, so basically when you look at your mother, it's not the woman that you think she is. She has behind experiences.
Sorry, I can't.
She has... so actually this is a cosmic joke, but we are just like...
Yeah, this is a cosmic joke, that's why I'm laughing, yeah.
So she has been a baby, she has been a child, a teenager, an adult, making her path and her way through life, having relationship, having amount of experiences the same way that you have amount of experiences. So she's not the mother that you think she is. So whatever has also wounded her is part of her experience. And however your mother is acting, reacting, doing, and congratulations if you have a beautiful, loving relationship with your mother. If you have co-creating that, congratulations. And please be an inspiration for all the women as well, so they can see through you how they can focus their creation with their mother, their relationship with your mother, with their mother. So whatever your mother is doing, saying, acting, reflecting, saying, seeing, she's not doing it because of you or for you, or she's not doing it with the intention to hurt you. What was the exact word we were like sharing just an hour ago?
I really love what you're saying, because this is one of the most important fundamental aspects of a relationship between a woman and her mother. And this mother has a mother, and then that mother has a mother, and that mother has a mother. So I'm just going to emphasize a bit on what you were saying.
Yes.
So when Mathilde was saying that all our mothers have a childhood, so just like we have a childhood and our learnings have come through our childhood, our mothers have had the same. So they've had the childhood where they have chosen specific mothers to give them learnings on the earth plane. Whether our mothers are aware or not, those learnings come in a duality. And usually in that generation, the duality is kind of a negative duality. So people today, for example, can learn how to succeed through passion. So they can have a positive duality because the earth plane is dual. And then in the generation of our parents, it comes with a negative duality. So somebody learns how to succeed from fear of punishment, or someone learns how to succeed from fear of lack. So our parents, or anyone usually born at that time, and like after World War II and 2 generations, comes from a negative duality. So our parents and our mothers and their mothers and their mothers have that embedded in them. So whenever our mothers are behaving in a certain way, or their mothers are behaving in a certain way, they are behaving from the programming that has happened within their own childhood. So if our mothers say something that trigger us, or if our mothers say something that can upset us, or if our mothers say something that expand us, it's coming from their own perspective of life, from their own perspective of love, from what they have acquired and acknowledged in their own childhood. So what I would invite everyone to do, because our biggest trigger can be our mother. Why? Because we are here to learn, to embody, to expand in the vibration of love. And our mother is our source of unconditional love in this life, in this earth plane. So she is one person that has the ability to trigger us very easily. One, because she knows us like the back of our hand. Two, because our triggers mainly stem from our childhood, and our childhood was spent with our mother. And third, because she is the source of unconditional love. So if I would invite you also, if something happens with your mother and your mother starts triggering you, or if your mother starts showing you aspects that you're not happy with, usually what happens is the person makes it very personal and they start making it about them. Like, my mother is talking to me like this. My mother is treating me like this. And this is where conflict arises. This is where the limitations repeat themselves over and over and over. And what happens is a consciousness of martyrism stays. So I would invite you all to start looking at the situation as my mother has her own experience that's completely independent from my experience. And you need to make a decision there. How are you going to shift this experience if you choose to? Or what participation do you want in this experience? So for example, if your mother's behaving in a certain way that you do not align with, instead of getting triggered and making it all about yourself, look at it from the perspective of your mother. Look at the scenario from her eyes. Try to understand the scenario through her ears. Try to understand the scenario through her experience. So be present with her so you can really understand what's going on. And only when you understand with awareness what is happening, then a situation can be alchemized, a situation can be transformed. And that's how we transform the wound into love.
Creating the bridge for love and the bridge of love. The same way that when you feel in a space that you are wounded, you are calling for love, for nurturing, for understanding, for presence as well. The same way that you are the bridge for your mother. If you understand what we are saying, it means that you are awakened, that you have a level of understanding, a level of awareness that is able to shift that and to create that. You cannot ignore it anymore. So you have the tools that your mother may not have. So when you understand that, the level of reaction and action from your mother, and you understand it's not personal, then you can literally shift it in creating that bridge. So when it's not personal, you release and understand your trigger, that they are not here anymore, they're not triggering you anymore, then you can create that bridge. So she can also create the bridge to you based on love. She will have all type of wounds that you may even not be aware of. So see her as, I like to also bring that analogy. Understand and see Mother Earth. She is fully supporting your existence. She has birthed your physical vessel. She's birthing your existence here on Earth. She's an unconditional love, unconditional support, and unconditionally safe if you allow it that way. This is the values, this is the intrinsic values of the mother. The mother is within you, beautiful ladies and sisters. So sit in your mother the same way that you have it here. Sit in your mother, that she has all the ability to bridge that unconditional love and to awaken if she's choosing so. But from your perspective, from your place where you are, allow that bridge of love to be created and say yes to it. And we have another tool to create that bridge, to keep that focus.
And it's very important what Mathilde is saying. Like, if you're watching this, it means you're interested in this subject. It means you have the ability to understand the language that we're speaking, which is amazing. And it's also super vital that action is taken, because a woman that heals her relationship with her mother heals the relationship with all the women in her lineage, heals the relationship between all the women in her life. And when women get together, power is ignited. When women get together from the energy of love, from the vibration of unity, power is ignited. And there's a beautiful quote. It's like, heal the king to heal the kingdom, heal the queen to heal the queendom. And this is when the unification of love comes into place. So it really starts, a big part of it starts with healing our relationship with our mother. And it's our responsibility to do so.
Yes, the moment you realize it, you own that responsibility. It's not a burden, it's an excitement to create the relationship that you want with your mother, to create the life that you want, to create the reality that you are eager to live in. And in order to also create that bridge for love, to shift and alchemize the mother one into mother love, ask yourself, so we invite you as well to ask yourself the question, what do I want to create with my mother? What is the type of relationship I want to create with my mother, right? So when you put the words on it and you put the feelings on it and you know how it looks like, then keep that focus, because it won't be always easy, right? Because when you will just express to your mother how much you love her unconditionally and you see her and you support her, and no matter what she does, you are still loving her, that will trigger on the other side the wands till it drops, but it needs to break through that. So it's
because what are wounds?
Line.
Very true.
Yeah.
Because what are wounds? Like when we say the word wound, what is wound? Wound is a place of lack of love. And like Rumi says, you know, our journey here in life is not to find love. It's to remove all the barriers that we have created around the love that we are. And those barriers are those wounds. So when we sit and we start tackling those wounds, you know, the barriers are going to get stronger because they're not used to just being relaxed. And once you overcome that, then you can have the most fantastic sisterhood type of relationship with every woman that comes your way, because you've tackled one of the most difficult relationships that you have in your life. And I'm not saying that for sure you have a different type of relationship with your mother, but what I'm saying is, from all the people that I have encountered and I've seen in my workshops and clients, then most women do have this mother wound that can be alchemized and transformed into love.
Exactly. And I like the word that you say about barriers. And I just got the image of, imagine walls being created around the heart to protect. The moment you start coming with the love, the walls will start falling into pieces, and behind the heart will panic a little bit, like, my God, what's happening? I'm not safe anymore. And this is where all the triggers will start having a 100 or 1,000 expansion of everything will be expanded in the fears, in the wands, till it's breakthrough. So it's like healing. So imagine your healing journey till now, your awakening journey till now. It hasn't always been pink, right? And super light and loving and unicorn. We had, everyone had their level of going outside the comfort zone. And when we go outside the comfort zone, this is where we are a bit shattered. And this is normal. It's a normal process. Changing vibrations sometimes need a bit of shattering to drop the lower energies, the lower patterns, the lower vibrations or contracts, however you call it. So it will be the same for your mom, but you will be the observer and the actor at the same time, but in another physical form. Right?
And you never know, like,
interesting.
Definitely it'll be interesting. And you never know, like, maybe you'll also discover more about yourself, about how to receive unconditional love from your mother, the way she knows how to give it. You know, so it's a learning and a journey for both parties involved. And it's going to be like magical and transformational because we're assuming that everybody that's watching this is dedicated on their path. So the tools that we were talking about, the tools that we're going to be sharing with you are very simple. However, what they require is devotion. So I'm going to tell you what came to me in my meditation today. It's discipline and devotion. So one of the tools is definitely not making everything about you. When it comes to the relationship or the triggers. So there's a very thin line there between when it is about you and when it's really not about you. And that's what we're going to elaborate on for a bit. So if my mother triggered me, or if a mother triggers a daughter or a son, and the trigger is there in the physical body, so the cellular memory is being triggered, therefore there's something that hasn't been resolved, or something that hasn't had the light turned on it. So there's a bit of awareness that's required. And that's when the mother is kind of mirroring a barrier or a wound that's still there in the child. And the second thing is when you can observe your mother in the way that she is, in the glorious, imperfect perfection that she is.
It's beautiful. I'll say it one more time.
So if you can observe your mother in the glorious, imperfect perfection that she is, and whatever is going on, whether you resonate or not resonate, but your heart is open like a rose with love towards her, then you can truly know that this has nothing to do with you and this is just something that's surfacing for her. So you need to have that discernment. You need to have that knowing. Like, when is it something that you need to like look into within yourself? And it's very brief. You just see where am I doing that in my life with her too. That's what a mirror shows you. And then the second would be like, this has nothing to do with me. If we're going to personalize everything, we're never going to heal and transform this relationship.
I would just like to add something here. Understand that all your experiences in your past, whether they were pleasurable or not pleasurable, they are all serving you, and all for
100%.
a reason. But there's a time where you become the observer of it, and you detach yourself from the ones. So you are not the ones. So you thought they were, you thought it was you, but when you observe yourself, you realize that you played that game. That you were cooked into it unconsciously.
Yeah.
I mean, without enough awareness to realize that you can observe them, and you feel and you see that if there is love, the wounds are dissolving. They are not part of you anymore. You are not allowing them into you anymore. This is where you have the clarity, you have the grounding as well, and you have the space to create that bridge of love with your mother, because there is no triggers anymore. So I want to insist on this to answer the questions of
a lot of women.
The ones from the past are not you anymore. If you allow it to observe them, all the experiences from the past served you and are serving you for you to learn how to love yourself, to learn from love, and to rise in love.
And this is the second tool. This is the second tool of how you move forward. So if every time something happens with our mother and we're going to look back at our childhood and this happened to us before and she's always done this in our life, blah, 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 etc., etc. Not that it's not important, because there's a major, major, major learning there. But if we're going to keep living in that past and living in that attachment, emotional attachment to the wound, we're never going to transcend. Or we will transcend in very slow pace. And the evolution is happening very fast. So we need to move with our own natural state. So to let go of that emotional attachment to the wound, instead of always reflecting back of what happened in the past, just start anchoring a new consciousness of love in every moment. So for example, let's say, the mother says something that you don't really resonate with. And this is something that's always been an issue your entire life. You can take it in two ways. You can take it in the way, like, this has always been an issue, she always does this, etc., etc. Now, she's a bad person and you're the one that's being victimized. And the wound will continue. Or you can do another route, which is first, take tool number one. This is not about you. This is about her. And this is about her own learnings and her own projections. Right? Her own perspective. And the second is what Mathilde and I are just saying, is the second tool. How can I anchor a consciousness of love at this moment? And whatever comes to you, you need to act on it. So ask yourself the question, what would love do at this moment? Not what is the right thing to do, not what is the most intellectual thing to do, or how can I tell her or teach her not to treat me this way anymore. We're done with the past. The wounds are gone. What we're going to do now is transform. And to transform is we need to anchor a new consciousness. And to anchor the new consciousness with the highest vibration is to act and say and speak and see and hear and choose the vibration of love in every single second.
And to anchor that new level of consciousness, ask yourself, what is the relationship I want to create with my mother? I want to have with my mother, and focus on this to bridge your love with her. So reflect it, maybe not now, maybe after the video. What is the perfect relationship I would like to co-create with my mother? I would like to share with my mother, and create your bridge of love. So no matter what comes into the way, you know how it is, right? You are driving your car and suddenly it will rain. They will have like a couple of things happening. It won't be like a sunny road with no one on the road, right? So whenever it's happening, where there are some distraction or there are some test drive in the relationship with your mother, keep your focus on how you want to create and what you want to create with your mother, to create your bridge of love, right? Do not lose your focus. This is one of the biggest lessons. Now there is a beautiful inspiration for that, and thank you for being that and shining it. Yes.
Thank you.
And we are all like waiting for your workshop. Yes.
So I'll share a bit about it. I'll share a bit about the workshop at the end, because I'm really excited to share this information, because it's been developed through my own journey, and it's been really, really profound with the amount of love and the amount of sisterhood and this unity that I've developed with my own mother. So I know she's watching. She's always now participating in things that I do in my life like I do with her. So I'll just give a shout out to her right now. So it's very important with what Mathilde is saying, like to stay focused on your objective, because usually it's not both that are conscious. One person is conscious and the other is unconscious. You can make the decision not to have a relationship with your mother. You can have a decision to have an energetic relationship. But then, you know, you wouldn't have chosen her to be your mother if that's what you're choosing consciously. Like you've chosen her to be your mother for deeper reasons before you've come here. So make your focus, choose what path you want to create with her, and know that usually in such situations, I mean, if your mother is awake and is aware and is living consciously, then it's great, because then there's a collaboration happening. And if you're with a mother that is still waking up or still not in her full awareness, then you need to also take that into consideration. So one of you is conscious and the other one is behaving unconsciously. And the one that's so if you're gonna follow and react to everything that the unconscious person is doing, it's like that saying, like the blind is leading the blind. It's like this person doesn't know what's going on. So the conscious one is the one that can see. The conscious one is the one that's awake. And that's the person that can stir and lead the relationship into the light.
And I would like to bring in an analogy as well to reinforce what you said, because it's so perfect. We talk about children, but we're going to bring an example with adults. So for example, you're in the kitchen and you break 5 plates at the same time. It was not on purpose, right? So as it's not on purpose, you will not expect anyone to shout at you, correct? So see it as your parents breaking plates. You're not going to shout at them. It was not intentional.
Very true.
So try to copy-paste that in a way for the way they react in their life and the way they are reacting towards yourself, right?
Yeah.
It's not with intention, like it's not made there to hurt you. If it's there to hurt you, then this is a bit of another topic, another journey, another guidance. But a mother will express her want in a way that it will project on you a certain level of vibration that you are not, you feel like it's for you as well, that you are responsible for it, or that you have a part into it and it's meant to hurt. But remember the first tool that was, it's not here.
Not about you.
It's not about you, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
It's not about you. So how we can be there as a conscious being to bring the love, so they drop their walls, they drop their pain and their wants in their own time and own pace. Remember that.
Because at the end of the day, like every woman, every mother just wants to be seen, she wants to be heard, she wants to be appreciated, and she wants to be loved. And people will call for these emotions in any way possible. Like we were talking earlier, like usually children that get into, or people that get into like a lot of mischievous behavior, like trouble with the police or trouble with authority or stuff. They're just calling for attention. So people can call for attention in many ways. So whenever our mother is behaving in a certain way that isn't in alignment to the vibration of kindness, compassion, respect, love, etc., she's just calling out for one of these. Please see me, please hear me, please recognize me, and please love me.
And if you look deep into yourself, you are probably doing the same as well, right?
Very true, yes.
Catch that in yourself.
Yeah.
See it.
That's the awareness.
Yes, that's the awareness. Catch that in yourself and see it in others. The moment you shift that, you will see it differently everywhere, and you will have all the powers, all the tools, all the strengths, and all the focus to actually shift that in people in your life. But first, catch it as well. How are you reacting when you are tired?
That's so true, yeah.
In your relationship with your husband, in your boyfriend, with your friends, at work, when you want something and it's not happening, when you are tired as well, stressed. How are you reacting? What do you really want inside, deep inside? You want someone to come to you and say, everything is alright, you are loved and I love you, right? So exactly the same with your mother, right? So it's like breaking as well the structure of parenthood. Your parents, they are human beings, and they were where you are at the same age, different places, but they went through that life learning or teaching or
and
school.
always remember that everybody is doing the best they can with the tools that they have.
Exactly. And the level of awareness. Wow, that's good.
Yeah, beautiful.
We have comments. So if you have questions, please share, or even your experience as well. So Desi is saying, looking at it as what is this situation here to show me, to teach me? Exactly.
Yes. Beautiful. So if you have any questions, please do ask us now, more than what's already come. And
while you are maybe sharing now, that we will read you in a moment.
We did have one question that came up that I just will tackle a bit more. So we have a sister that sent us a private message saying, how do we let go of the wounds? How do we let go of the wounds of the childhood so she can anchor a love consciousness moving forward? So the way I see it, and you can always, elaborate on that, but the way I see it is let's first look at the reason to why we're attached to the wound. Because attachment to the wound is like attachment to anything. It could be attachment to, your car, attachment to the food that you eat, attachment to the people in your life. It's just another form of attachment. Usually when we're attached to something, it's because it's feeding us somewhere, somehow. So maybe, if somebody's attached to their car, it's giving them status. So they attach to it because it's feeding feeding them somewhere, somehow. So if somebody is attached to their wounds, it means that they have gotten the learnings, they're attached to the learnings. However, they have not embodied the learnings fully. Because once they embody the learnings, then they don't need anything to feed them, they are feeding themselves. So let's say, and we learned through either, I said, the negative duality or the positive duality. So let's say someone, by getting physically abused or emotionally abused by their parent, they learned how to be independent, and they learned how to be self-sufficient, and they learned how to be compassionate towards others. And those are the virtues that they need in their life, as a healer, as a life talk, as a life coach, whatever it may be. Now, if the person is unable to let go of the emotional attachment to the wound, it's because they have the learnings, but they haven't embodied them in their everyday life. So they will need to keep that duality created together so they can remind themselves of their learnings all the time. So my invitation to people that are unable to let go of the emotional attachment to the wound is start making a conscious decision to embody your learning. So if one of your learning is compassion, it means you need to start being compassionate everywhere you go all the time, or else you're not a compassionate person. You're compassionate conditionally. So then you haven't received your learning fully. So embody that virtue fully, and then what will happen is that the attachment to the wound will naturally leave your space because it's no longer there to serve you.
Even I like to say love yourself. Like if your lesson is to love yourself and to bring yourself as a priority, then do it fully, right? Do not project your love on others in giving without receiving. So that can be also the switch in abuse as well. In
Very
childhood.
true.
So it's as what we haven't talked about it fully, but it's very nice that you brought it up now. The attachment and the identifications. What are my identifications? What are my attachment to that, to the ones? Am I willing to keep them? And know that, so I'm going to give like a little push in it. Know that if you are not willing to learn it fully and you're still attaching to some lessons and some wands, because when you learn it, it disappears from your life. You are like doing your quantum jump. You are shifting your vibrational frequencies. So if it's still here, know that it will keep on amplifying till you fully learn it, right?
Yeah.
So be aware of that. How it works is how it works for us to awaken on this human aspect, right? So
yeah, like nothing goes away until you learn what you need to learn.
So the moment you bring your light, it will light up some beautiful tools to work on yourself, to love yourself more, to awaken, right? So if you open the light and you switch it off, then you still know that it's here, right?
And learning something is not just having the theory behind it, because then it hasn't learned.
Back again to the tools.
Yeah, learning something is actually embodying it. And by embodying it, I mean it becomes part of your everyday life.
It's become your second nature.
It becomes your second nature. And the tools that we've shared with you are really simple, yet very effective on discreating the wounds, discreating the dramas, discreating the unnecessary conflict between a daughter and a mother. And once you embody them, what will happen, like truly embody them, you know, and be genuine about it, what will happen is the relationship with the mother will become blissful, will become more loving, and will become more harmonious.
Yes, and healthy as well.
For sure.
So let's bring the tools together. So the first one was to see your mother as a woman that went through all her life and experienced in her life and her wounds as well. That's the observation. The second tool was from that, it's to understand that it's not against you. I still cannot get the, it's not for you, no.
It's not about you.
It's not about you. This one, like, it's not getting inside. The second one is not about you. And when it's not about you, you are creating that detachment, that the detachment of the identification to those ones that is not about you, that are not about you. The second one is to have the willingness to create that bridge of love. And to create that bridge of love, we need the focus of what do I want to create with my mother in terms of relationship.
And anchor a new consciousness of love every single moment.
Yes.
Just ask your heart, what would love do at this moment? Yeah.
Exactly.
Great.
Exactly, like what would love do at this moment? Yes. So for example, a couple of sentence is, do you want to share it? Because you are very good with
which one?
I love you unconditionally no matter what you do.
Yeah.
And I see you, I honor you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like one thing that you could do is remind yourself of your intention, of what relationship you're developing with your mother. And then whatever you choose, like for me, I chose to create a loving, harmonious relationship with my mother. And keeping in mind that it wasn't always the case, keeping in mind that, you know, it had a lot of turmoil previously. But then when I learned these tools of it's not about me, I learned that, you know, I need to see her as a woman that's also had a whole childhood of her own. And I needed to understand that when she's behaving, I have two options. I have the option of going into the same loop, or I have the option of anchoring a new consciousness of love. And I chose that one. I chose the consciousness of love. So reminding yourself of your intention is very important when it starts to rain. Like Mathilde was saying, it's like a car ride, it's like a journey. And then sometimes it will be sunny, and then sometimes there will be storms. So when the storm appears, you need to remind yourself of your intention, because it's very easy to go back into our old patterns. And then
very easy.
Yeah, yes. It's very easy. And because it's so if you haven't shifted it, then that's your nature. So what we're doing is we're recreating a new nature with the relationship with our mothers. And then the second thing is to actually anchor that love. So for me, I understood that my mother likes verbal affirmations. Everybody has a different language of love. Some people like affection. That's how they know how to receive love. Some people like to have gifts. Some people like like quality time. So there's 5 languages according to the book, but I believe that there's 6. So I'll just tell you what they are real quickly. So one, people like quality time. Other people like surprises. People like services done for them. People like affirmations. People like affection. And my sixth one I would add is mental communication, like deep communication. So people have different languages of love. So I understood how my mother gives love and how she receives love. And sometimes they could be different. And the receiving was different. It was verbal affirmations. So I anchored that in every moment. So every single moment I would actually say, I love you and I see you and I honor you and I appreciate everything that you are. And then with time, you know, the old paradigm of our relationship just completely dissolved. And a new paradigm of friendship, of sisterhood, of unity started to emerge. Where we now dance in each other's lives with lots of grace, with lots of respect for one another, woman to woman. And this is what I would like to share with the women that are watching.
Yes, and we can add here as well a bit of visualization. So when you are saying that to your mom, just imagine it has a ripple effect in her mother and the mother of the mother and the mother of the mother. So once we are sending that genuinely and from your heart, just feel that the words are going through all the mothers in your lineage. Like, I love you, I see you, I honor you, and I appreciate everything that you did or that you do, right? And you are truly loved. Yeah. And you are present in your, you're not present like you are, I see you as a woman, not only as a mother. Yeah. So that's very important as well. Yeah.
Very true. And only when you see your mother as a woman, and not only as a mother, will she be able to see you as a woman and not only as a child.
Exactly. Yeah. And back again to the type of relationship you want to create with your mother as well. Yeah. Yes. And bridge of love. Okay. Right? And I think we're done for today. What do we have here?
So for everyone that's been sharing lots of love to us, we love you too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for being present. Before we close today, I just want to share with you that there is a workshop that's coming up about this subject, about transforming the mother wound into mother love. And I'm very excited to be sharing this knowledge with all of you. It's not really knowledge, it's awareness, and it's like really embodying a different path. This has all been channeled to me through the cosmos, through the Mother Earth as well. And so when the details are out, I will be sharing with all of you. And I'm really, really excited to start these transformations that will create major ripple effects on the planet, as the Earth is our mother as well. And so world peace comes from that too.
Exactly.
Great. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, everyone, beautiful sisters and brothers as well watching. Thank you for your presence online. Thank you for creating that beautiful space. And we see you next week, probably. Yes. Let's see who will join next week, and the topic as well, because each time is what we are feeling around on the collective level. And today was very strong. So thank you for bringing that topic to us energetically. So we send you a lot of love, a lot of kisses, and a lot of light.
Infinite blessings.
We love you and thank you. Bridge of love. Bye, everyone.
Bye.